So let's take the simplistic example of, Costco and Whole Foods. May or may not be a perfect one, but I think it's something everybody can relate to. And of course, location from both our companies allows you to look back and say, okay, so pre-pandemic, who were the folks who went to Whole Foods? Who were the folks who went to Costco? Who were the cross shoppers? What was the frequency of those visits? And how far would people drive? How did that change during the pandemic? Who lost? Who won? And who do we think is going to be at risk? Meaning, folks, suddenly found it's more convenient to go to Costco. It's not that far, right? They had a routine built in to go to Whole Foods. Well, now I'm seeing a big behavioral change between these two brands. What do those two brands do to defend or attack against those? So you can look back at all these trends, and you can look by store level, region, right? You can cut it by demographics, time of day. Another amazing thing that's happened during this period is with work from home, grocery is flattened out, right? Grocery used to be weekends were very, very busy. You would obviously have nights and weekends. And now without this commute routine, right, it's flattened out. People are shopping at all sorts of different times. So that behavior has changed. How much of that will persist? How does that change things? So location allows you to look back, see these changes, and start to say, what are the ones I want to now potentially try and change back, or what are the ones I want to try and lock in? So that's the way that we've seen it being used.
So you're really talking about a marketing proposition, either conquesting or defending your customer base, right? I mean, it's hard to predict with any certainty what's actually going to continue, because I mean, especially, there's a lot of discussion about e-commerce. Well, people are not going to go back into stores; they're going to buy everything online, et cetera, et cetera. But the early kind of pent-up demand behavior suggests that's not entirely true, and it's going to be a much more nuanced kind of a go-forward kind of picture.
Yeah. And from a marketer's perspective, I would say we're seeing a common theme across kind of the marketers that are the first to go into market. So one is, and Duncan highlighted a couple of these points, but one is to look at the audience pre-COVID and make sure that you're re-messaging back to them. So if I know you went into my store for the last 6 months, but you haven't been in the last 2, I need to make sure that I'm reaching out to you, letting you know that my location is open, letting you know that my brand is there, letting you know that these are the hours of operation. Because again, the muscle memory is all reset. It's getting rebuilt now. So you need to defend your existing client base. But then you also have opportunities that come up. In the retail space, you're hearing about a couple of bankruptcies that are occurring. A lot of store locations are closing. In that aspect, that's to your point around conquesting, there are opportunities that you find for conquesting, because those customers have not been going there the last 2 months. Now that store location is no longer there. There's an opportunity to reach that audience and convert them into your location. And that's audiences. But I think there's another one around proximity. Just from a proximity standpoint, you want to look at the history to say this is pre-COVID, but if someone is out and about in the physical world right now, that alone is a signal now that they are in market, because they are actually not at home, but they're actually at a grocery store, they're at a retail location. And in those scenarios, proximity-based marketing in locations where businesses are open is more important than it's ever been, because you've got an in-market audience, and you can actually, they're the group that, to your point, there's a lot of folks that say they don't want to go outside and they actually don't go outside. The population that is going outside right now, they're ready to consume. They're going out to consume. So I think that's a big opportunity.